The Birmingham School Approach. In this unit, we shall be examining trends in the School of Discourse that has introduced by the group of scholars in the University of Birmingham in the early 1970s. The idea started with the study of the classroom discourse and later became a possible theory for the study of any human interaction. The study undertaken by John Sinclair and Malcolm Coldhart proposed a scale for the study of the structure of discourse in the classroom. This is the unit objectives. By the end of the unit, we should be able to do the following. First is that explain the Birmingham School approach to discourse analysis. Use these units to attempt analysis of instances of discourse. Write a lesson showing different classes of acts used by the teacher and the students. Differentiate the difference between the units of discourse. Classroom discourse is an institutional discourse that involves the teacher and pupils interacting and exchanging ideas. The teacher initiates the discourse and ensures that it follows a particular course which he or she has predetermined. The typical structure of of the classroom discourse identified by Sinclair and Coldhart is IRF, or initiation, response, and follow-up. This means that the teacher initiates the discourse while the student supply response to the initiation, and the teacher typically gives the feedback. Though there are several ways teachers and students exchange ideas, the teacher is the one saddled with the responsibility of controlling the discourse and determine the direction it goes. The teacher has a role that is described in discourse as plus higher role, while the students have the negative higher role. With the tender relationship between the teacher and the pupils, the classroom discourse is able to run smoothly. The next section, we will discuss the feature of classroom discourse as observed by Sinclair and Coldhart. Classroom discourse is an institutional discourse that involves the teacher and pupils interacting and exchanging ideas. The teacher initiates the discourse and ensures that it follows a particular course which he or she has predetermined. The typical structure of of the classroom discourse identified by Sinclair and Coldhart is IRF, or initiation, response, and follow-up. This means that the teacher initiates the discourse while the student supply response to the initiation, and the teacher typically gives the feedback. Though there are several ways teachers and students exchange ideas, the teacher is the one saddled with the responsibility of controlling the discourse and determine the direction it goes. The teacher has a role that is described in discourse as plus higher role, while the students have the negative higher role. With the tender relationship between the teacher and the pupils, the classroom discourse is able to run smoothly. The next section, we will discuss the feature of classroom discourse as observed by Sinclair and Coldhart. Sinclair and Coldhart's work represents one of the earliest descriptive work on the classroom discourse as an institutional discourse. The work was based on Halliday's scale and category. Discourse was seen by them as a level language higher than grammar. They did an extensive study of the language used by teachers and pupils in classroom in Britain and proposed a five-scale category of discourse, namely lesson, instruction, exchange, moves, and acts. These are discussed into the next section. Lesson is the highest unit in the discourse rank scale. It is everything that happens in the classroom from the point the teacher enters till he or she leaves. The structure of a lesson is determined by several factors. This includes pupils' responses to the teacher's instruction and the teacher's ability to respond to pupils' responses. For instance, a teacher may initiate a discussion that the whole class would be on for that entire lesson. Good teachers do not rush their lessons with the aim of finishing everything they set out to do. As they teach, they monitor pupils' responses, sometimes repeat and go over a lesson they had taught earlier. Transaction is next to lesson. It is a basic unit of interaction. It was to do with minimal contribution made by participants in a discourse. Every transaction has an opening, which is usually a greeting, and it possibly closes with a greeting as well. Exchange is the whole dialogue between the teacher and the pupils. It is a fundamental unit that realizes social interaction. The structure of typical exchange is an initiation followed by response and followed by a follow-up. Initiation simply refers to the starting up of a topic by the teacher when he entered the classroom. The teacher expects his or her initiation to elicit a kind of response from the students. An initiation is usually a question or a comment. Teachers use question for a lot of initiating responses from their pupils. Then, the response will come in form of an answer to the question. The exchange will not be complete without the teacher responding as a follow-up to the pupil's response. A follow-up may be a commendation for a good answer, or a rejection for the answer, and so forth. Move refers to the contribution made by one of the participants in the discourse at the point in time. Speakers take turns in conversation, and when they have the floor, they speak for a specific period of time before another speaker takes over. Act is the smallest unit of the discourse structure, according to Sinclair and Coldhard. A discourse act are typically one free clause plus any subordinate clauses, but there are certain clauses where we can specify almost all the possible realizations, which consist of single words or groups. Acts are identified principally by their functions. Sinclair and Coulthard recognized 22 classes of act in the classroom discourse, while Oluteju recognized 24 classes of act. Later in the unit, we shall discuss the nature of the classes of act in details. To discuss the classes of acts, shall present a table showing them how they are realized and their functions in discourse. We have the category, and the under category we have the realization and function. First is that elicitation. This is realized by a question. Its function is to request a linguistic response. Directive. This is realized by a command. Its function is to request a non-linguistic response. Informative. This is realized by a statement. The function is to provide information. The only response is an acknowledgement of attention or understanding. Prompt. This is realized by a class of items. Go on, come on, hurry up, have a guess, and etc. Its function is to reinforce directive or elicitation by suggesting that the teacher is no longer requesting a response but expecting or demanding one. Bid. This is realized by the close class of verbal or nonverbal items. Sir, Miss, teacher's name, raise hand, finger clicking, and etc. Its function is to signal desire to contribute to the discourse. Restates. This is realized by statements that tend to repeat a point or an idea that have had earlier been mentioned. Focus. This is realized by statements which are not strictly part of the discourse but inform us about what the topic is all about. Frame. This is realized by words that indicate the boundaries in a lesson, such as right, today, good, well, and etc. Repetition. This is realized by statements that are repeated to emphasize the importance of message in the discourse. Demonstration. This is realized by statements showing that the teacher is giving practical illustration of what is being represented to the pupils. Contrastive. This is realized by the statement that are opposite of what had earlier been said. They are usually marked by expressions such as an in contrast to, on the contrary, and etc. Illustrate. This is realized by a statement that further explains a point being discussed. Expatiate. This is realized by a statement that adds to the information that had already been given. Additive. This is realized by a statement which gives additional information to the discourse. It is realized typically by words such as and, in addition, and etc. Hearing or check. This is realized by words such as hen, habi, or any vocal language equivalent which are meant to check whether the pupils are following the discourse. Except this is realized by close class of items such as yes, no, good, fine, and repetition of pupils reply all. With neutral lawful intonation, its function to indicate that the teacher has heard or seen and what that information, reply or react was appropriate. Comment. This is realized by a statement or tag question. It is subordinate to the head move. Its function is to expand, justify, and provide additional information. Evaluation. This is realized by statement and tag questions, including words and phrases such as good, fine with high fall intonation, and repetition of pupils' reply with either a higher fall. Causative. This is realized by a statement showing that what is about to be said is a result one of thing or the other. It is typically realized of words such as so, therefore, as a result, and etc. Reply. This is realized by a statement, question, or models, item, and nonverbal surrogates such as nods. Its function is to provide a linguistic response which appropriates elicitation. React. This is realized by a non-linguistic action. Its function to provide appropriate non-linguistic response which is appropriate to the directive. Nominate. This is realized by a close class consisting names of all students. You, anybody, yes, etc. The function is to give permission to student to contribute to the discourse. Study of classroom discourse marked the beginning of how discourse is structured and organized, especially in an institutional setting. Sinclair and Coldhard proposed what they believe constitute discourse structure using a rank scale similar to Holliday's grammatical rank scale. Their study further opened up several attempts on the study of how the discourse is organized. In this unit, we have seen an attempt by two scholars to produce a structural analysis of naturally occurring discourse, drawing a lot of ideas from Holliday's scales and category grammar. In their observation, discourse is higher than grammar, and just like grammar, it has its own rank scale, which consists of 5 units: lesson, transaction, exchange, move, and act. We have discussed each of these units and give you appropriate examples. The importance of this is that you should be able to analyze a classroom interaction using the method we have outlined in this unit.